Hello there, and thanks for tuning in again. This is John Hauser with my YouTube channel, Free Advice. And excuse me while I adjust the height of my chair here. Oh, that's better. Get myself up there where I look a little taller. Uh, the name of my YouTube channel is Free Advice, and as I told you in one of my other videos, this YouTube channel is a new adventure for me. I recently just got this started and am learning how to do it, how to make videos. So this next video is going to be kind of an experiment. If this video doesn't go well, then I'll erase it or I'll take it down. But I have a story that I wanted to relate, and I don't know how many people have heard this story. I don't know if it's going to be considered funny. I don't know if it's going to be considered dumb. But I do want to share the story, and if you think this is okay, you can just put it in the comments below, and I'll see how it goes. Because I'm going to post it, no matter how terrible it comes out. I'm going to post it just to see, what kind of response I get on this. I'm going to start by telling you that a few years back we went to a Newtown, which is just across the border from New Jersey into Pennsylvania, to visit my sister. My sister's name is Joanne. She lives in Newtown. And her daughter works as a tour guide in what used to be Central Prison in Philadelphia. Now, you can look this place up on the internet, this prison. It was closed down in 1972. So my niece works there as a tour guide, and she does a very good job of it. She can walk you through there and tell you all the details. Interestingly enough, Al Capone had a room, or a cell rather, in this particular prison. And when you walk through this prison on the tour, you see immediately the difference. Al Capone had a very nice room. Had the bars on the door and the windows and everything. It was a jail cell. But, he had electric lights. He had a rug. They had better looking cots. They had furniture. So Al Capone was considered to be kind of a star back in those days. So they gave him a special room. But we walked all the way through that prison and did the entire tour through the prison. And it was it was a real eye-opening experience as to what people must have went through. See, this prison was built in the 1800s, and it didn't close till 1972. So a lot of times these men were in solitary confinement for months on time. So moving into the story, there were these two men that came out of that prison, and they weren't exactly rehabilitated. And one of them, he did have some serious problems, but he could work, and they both could work. Now, I want to make sure I tell this story correctly, because if I don't tell it correctly, you're not going to get it. But here's what happened. So these two gentlemen became friends. They got out of prison, and they became friends. And they decided that they would apply for jobs together and that they would work as a team. Now, the only thing they really could do was just pretty much common labor. They could dig, they could saw wood, they could do carpentry work and framing work. So they went and applied at a construction site. And it was required that they put on the application where they'd been and what they'd done. And the foreman looked at their record and realized he had a couple of ex-cons on his hands, and that even one of the ex-cons may have been slightly mentally off, but they were clean and they had their own tools and they were really willing to work. And he said, okay, he says, I'll give you two boys a chance. I'll give you two guys a chance to get out here. If you do a good job, the first day, then you'll have a job for the next several months, because this project is going to go on for several months. So he took them out there and he put them in this warehouse that was still under construction, had part of the roof on it. And he told them what to do. He says, I need to have these boards sawed and assembled. And he showed them the plans and showed them the construction he wanted them to do. And said, I'll be back in just a few minutes to check on you. Get started. Well, these two guys actually had quite a bit of experience in construction. And immediately they went to work. And the foreman got tied up and actually ended up being 2 or 3 hours before he came back. The foreman came back and he looked at the work that was being done, and he was really impressed at the carpentry, at the framing, at the rate of construction that was taking place. But he only saw one man working. He only saw one man working. So he went up to the one man that was working and he said, all of this looks really good. You're doing a good job, but where is your partner? He said, oh, he's up there hanging from the ceiling. And the foreman says, your partner is hanging from the ceiling? He says, why is your partner hanging from the ceiling? Because he is my light. And the foreman said, he is your light? He looks up at the guy and he yells up at him, and he's hanging there, just hanging from the ceiling. And I was like, so what are you doing up there? He says, I'm a light. He says, what do you mean you're a light? I'm a light. I'm providing light for my partner to work. The foreman was just very baffled. So he told me, he says, you come down from there, you are fired, get out of here. So the other guy begins to pack up his tools. And he says, where are you going? He says, I'm packing up my tools. I'm getting out of here. I can't work in here without a light.